Welcome to Kicking It Local, the podcast all about the football community in South Australia. I'm your host, Johnny Keko, and this is part 3 of the NPL preview with the coaches. If you haven't listened to part 1 or part 2 yet, make sure you go back and listen to those right now. We got 3 more coaches in today's episode, including Adelaide United Youth, Airton, Andrioli, who will talk about which young guns we should look out for and any future stars that may make it into the A-League squad. Plus, MetroStars' brand new head coach, Danny Graystone, talks about his role at the club and what it's like to be one of the first full-time coaches in the NPL in South Australia, and we'll give a bit of insight into what the club is doing for 2023. But first, let's go to South Adelaide, where I chat to their new coach for 2023, Anthony Rideout, and he talks about some of the big outs from the club. Let's get into part 3. I'm here in South Adelaide with the coach of South Adelaide Panthers, Anthony Rideout. Thank you for joining me, mate.
Thanks for making the trip down here and having me on your show. Much appreciated.
2023 is going to be the first full year as a permanent coach at the club. You took over last year with 8 games remaining from outgoing coach Andrew Calderbank. Now you're finally coming into your first full preseason as head coach. How are you finding the preseason and the transition into a permanent head coach?
Taking over last year to a squad that was a bit disjointed and allowing their third year of a cycle. The first year I was here with Andy as an assistant and we got promoted. Second year we, made finals for the first time. And then last year it just fell a bit flat. So taking over 8 games to go, the goal was just to stay up. It was great to get into pre-season and be able to start things my way and build the club that I want to and bring players in that I want to bring in.
You've taken over the squad from last year. Now, you've made a few changes going into this season. You've kept your brothers on board. But what are some of the other ins and outs that you've had within the squad and some of the reasons behind it?
Outs, I've got Ryan Beach, Jacko, Rudge, Deck Finney, Donny and Liam Woodings. Reasons for leaving, a couple of them really had good relationships with Andy, and when he left, they followed, which is to be expected in football. A couple of them was financial. We couldn't go to what some players' wage requests were, and a couple were just personality clashes. I took over, and the players that didn't sign a kind of buy-in this pre-season where I want to take the club, it wasn't going to work out, so we parted ways. Ins are obviously Mossy, fantastic addition to the club. We were lucky enough to have conversation with him, and him relocating down to Madison's Beach was a big tick for us. For once, location played an advantage for us. Usually it's going against us when players have to drive up the hill. So this was a one time where it really worked out well for us. We've got Cholwell, Phil Cash, Charles Arigi, Shoya, Japanese import, Abdullah, Tom Kingy and Connor Higgins. So with a lot of fresh new faces to the club. You've
got a lot of new fresh faces in the club, like you just mentioned. But what should we expect from your side going into this year?
Just a lot younger. I think our average age last year was 29, and we brought it down to I think 23.5 this year. That was a big goal of myself and the club to just build something not just for this year, but try to get a squad here that the club can add to over the next 2 to 3 years. You're going to see an improved environment on and off the pitch, and hopefully a place where players want to come and give 100%, and the supporters want to come and watch.
Who, if you could pinpoint anyone in particular or a couple of players in your squad, who's there one that we should look out for this season?
I've heard a lot of things from the football community this year, and basically we haven't signed no names, which is good. So I'd like to answer that with anyone you don't know. We have 4 or 5 players that are going to surprise some people, and I'm excited to get them out into the public eye round 1 and go from there. We've got a lot of good young talent. A couple of the young boys have really stepped up, and I'm just excited to see the overall squad as a whole.
Last year you guys missed out on finals. The year before you had a really good finals run, but this year, you're going in with a younger squad this year. What is the ambitions for the club? Is it try and build for the future or trying to get to finals appearance this year?
100% finals appearance. We've been going since October. We've been putting in 3 nights a week, like everyone else. We've been going on pre-season camp. We're building here, and we have a belief around the club and the squad that we can play finals. And I think to aim anything less than that, I wouldn't be sitting here in the chair. We got to aim where we know we can play, which is the final series at the end of the season.
And for your brothers especially, are they going to get an easy starting 11 position, or are they got to work hard to try and impress you?
Look, this is another comment that goes around the football community that my brothers only play because, I've got an easy, that awkward relationship. But at the end of the day, they're the 2 best players in attacking wise at the club for the last 3 years. If you go and sign me a better player in their position, they'll play. I think the emphasis on this year was the last few years we've been quite predictable going forward with those 2 being the main outlet, and that's something I identified and we've improved on moving forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me, Anthony. I look forward to seeing the team this year.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
That was head coach of South Adelaide, Anthony Rideout. I'm joined by the head coach of Northeastern MetroStars in the NPL, Danny Graystone. Thank you for joining me, Danny.
No problem, Johnny. Happy to be here.
Looking forward to chatting to you, especially you're a full-time coach at MetroStars. I think it's one of the first at the club. We are starting to see coaches like this come into these roles in the NPL. It shows the seriousness from these clubs of how they want to go in the NPL and how they're taking it for the future. How have you found your pre-season at the club coming into this season, 2023?
Look, it's been an excellent start for us with regards to pre-season. We've made some very good recruitments in the off season. We've had a few outgoings, and look, we pretty much turned over half the squad in a short space of time. So to get these guys gelling very quickly, and which we have done, has been and made an easier task because of the nature of the players that we brought in. Look, most of these guys are very keen to progress and go beyond this level. So they're very hungry. They want to succeed this year. So it's from that side of things, the senior squad, it's been a real good start to pre-season for us.
And talking about some of the ins you've had, you've brought in Temo Kolovsky, who's got a good background. Everyone's looking forward to seeing him in the NPL here in South Australia. What are some of the other ins and outs you've brought into the squad, and what's some of the reasons behind those changes you've made to this squad coming in?
Look, when I first sat down and discussed what the nature of my role was going to look like, obviously I've got a bit of a background with the development of younger players through to senior football in the A-League space. So I really wanted to attract players that were really hungry to progress to the next level. And I think we've definitely done that, obviously with the ins of Austin Ayubi, who was at Berks last year. Great talent. His mentality is fantastic. Some particular area games that we've got to work on that we will do this year just to progress him to sort of the next level, whether that be the B League with MetroStars or beyond that. I mean, ultimately, my goal is to try and help these players fulfill their potential. So if he can go beyond MetroStars to the A League, fantastic. He's certainly got the potential to do that and the mentality. We've just got to really get a good, solid season out of him. Next one's Michael Sidatini, who we brought in, another good young talent we brought in from Olympic, or brought back to the club from Olympic. Similar situation with Michael, bags of potential. For me, the mentality is there as well, which is often a battle when you come into the NPL space with these young players, is really getting into the mentality of the players and getting that hunger there, and just letting them know what it takes to actually make that next step. Michael's certainly another player that's got that. We brought in another younger player from Adelaide United, Noah McNamara, again, massive talent. Lots of potential for Noah. Look, Noah is someone that we've got to work on in other avenues to help him fulfill his potential. But again, a real exciting young talent, and it's important that these young talents in South Australia are playing in the NPL, which is a good additions to the squad. Outside of that, obviously JT that we've already spoken about, we've brought in another great example of a player that can go on and play above this level, and he's got the desire and the hunger back to go and do that. Obviously we brought in a couple of a bit of an old stalwart of mine in Ryan Beach, to add a bit of experience to the goalkeeper ranks at the club. Obviously, losing Luke left a bit of a hole in the squad. So to bring someone with the experience of Ryan in, and not only just the experience he has on match day, just the presence he brings to the training room and the training ground, and the communication he gives to the rest of the younger players is pretty much invaluable, to be quite honest. So he's been a real useful addition for us. Christian Giangelo, that we brought in from Berks, another solid player to bring in at the back. He'll probably be the first one to admit he didn't have one of his best seasons with Bicella having the season that they did last year. But we saw some real potential in Christian. Again, another good person, another hungry player who wants to get on the training ground and really put in the hard yards and wants to better himself. And when you've got a squad of players that really want to improve and better themselves from a coaching perspective, it's a real joy to work with.
Well, and you also brought in Scott Nagel as well, another experienced player from Comets. He's played in the last 6 grand finals. How important is that to have that experience in this squad as well?
Oh, absolutely essential. Look, we looked at areas of the squad that we needed to improve. Like for me, Scott, look, I've been trying to get hold of Scott for the last probably 8 or 9 years in various coaching roles, because the experience he brings, and even looking at his loadings during pre-season, like his fitness levels and his speed as a fullback are really at the top end, which probably a lot of people don't see. But look, Scott's another great character, and he brings some real character to the playing group as well. And looking at them 2 fullbacks that we have in Jackson and Scotty Nagel, look, we consider ourselves to be probably the strongest in the league in them positions, having added Scotty to the squad.
And with your background now coming from Melbourne Victory's youth academies, what can we expect to see from this team and your coaching style this season?
Look, it's obviously I get asked this question a lot about the philosophy, and I don't want to give anything away too early because we've got round 1 creeping up. But look, my job in terms of the playing style. Look, I'm a sort of a coach that believes in getting the best out of the playing group. So what I don't try and do, I don't try and enforce a way of playing, a style of playing upon players, because I believe that's the way we've got to play. I look at the playing group that are brought in and go, right, okay, where are our strengths? Where our potential limiting factors, and what's the best system or style of play to get outside of this squad. Bearing in mind, I've had some history with MetroStars already, and look, MetroStars have historically been a very good footballing side, and I've had some previous experience as a sort of specialist coach at MetroStars with Ivan. So you can't get away from the fact, like, look, MetroStars have always played a real sort of attractive, entertaining sort of brand of football, and me personally, I like to watch entertaining football, and I'm sure everybody does. So look, we're in a position, I think, in Australian football where we can't afford to not entertain supporters. Look, there's not enough coming through the turnstiles, and I think we have a responsibility to, put on a little bit of a show, or at least attempt to play a style of football that people want to come and watch.
And some of the you've managed to maintain some of the players from last season's squad who were talented and great to watch. You brought in some other good ones. Someone that people don't know of as much in Temukovsky, coming from Victoria. Who is someone you would say that we need to keep an eye on this season?
Well, look. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about JT coming in, but someone who's really impressed me a lot as well is Ren Nagamatsu, who was the number 9 last year. Look, we've had quite a few conversations with Ren with regards to potentially fulfilling his potential, because he'll be the first to admit he probably didn't do that last year with the amount of goals that he scored, but which quite surprised me, to be honest with you, because when I saw him in the first few sessions of pre-season, I mean, he's a really talented individual. There's no doubt about that. So having both him and JT in the squad, really gives me a headache as a coach of who to play. But they're both very, very, very good strikers, good finishers. They're slightly different in the way they play, which again can benefit who we're playing against. But he's one to watch this year, and he'll be a good talent for us. From a sort of central midfield, look, we've got young Alessio Malizio on the wing as well. He's impressed me in pre-season, very quick. We're starting just to build a little bit of game intelligence into him, which is really bearing fruits for him, and sort of just expanding his game a little bit and what he does in certain areas of the pitch. And then you've got your stalwarts of the club with Tony Solano at the back, and look, Hamish in the middle of the park has had a fantastic pre-season for us, and he's starting to form a real good relationship with the midfielders that I'm putting in there with him, with Austin, and when Fabian obviously comes in there, and with our other visa player Cameron, we're starting to get a real good sort of balance in the middle of the park, which has looked really good over the last few weeks.
Well, it sounds like we've got a lot to look out for this season. And lastly, Danny, with the club making it very obvious on social media that they're keen to get into the NSD and try and push the club to another level, what is the club's ambitions of this season after bringing you in as a full-time coach? Is it to win trophies? Is it to make finals? Or is it to build a big squad and a young squad for the future of the club?
Look, I think probably both of that, to be honest with you, Johnny. Look, you don't come and I've not come all the way from Victoria to join MetroStars just to rebuild for the next 4 or 5 years. There's going to be an element of rebuilding that takes place. But look, we're here to compete for trophies this year, no doubt about it. I mean, look, at MetroStars, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the clubs in South Australia that should always be in the top 2, top 3 of the league, looking to win the championship every year. And I think we'd all agree they've kind of slipped off from that pedestal a little bit over sort of the last sort of 6 or 7 years. So look, it's a big job to sort of just to take them back up to that level. But look, we'll be focused on competing and being there at the end of the season. Look, finals is always a little bit of a lottery, but 9 times out of 10, it's usually the team that's done the best over the course of the season that ends up winning the grand final. So look, we want to put ourselves up there and be serious contenders.
Well, on paper, you're definitely looking like a serious contender for top 2, top 3 at the minimum. So looking forward to seeing the squad come together this season. Thank you again for joining me, Danny, and looking forward to seeing your coaching style in the NPL of SA.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate your time, mate.
That was Danny Graystone from MetroStars. I am joined by the head coach of Adelaide United's NPL team in South Australia, Airton Andrioli. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be a good season for Adelaide United, hopefully again, because last year you made the finals and unfortunately lost to MetroStars. How have you found this pre-season coming into 2023?
Yes, pretty much the same as we did in previous years. We just, as you know, our main priority here is obviously use the NPL competition and develop those young players. It's, as you know, a big challenge for them to play against men every week, and we do appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that. Was great last year that we were able to make finals. We, as you know, with young players, we have a little bit of inconsistency. We did really well going forward, scoring goals, but as you know, we lack a little bit at the back conceding goals. But I think that's expected, especially because the way you propose to play football, we always want to be on the front foot and controlling games. And with that, obviously, and the lack of experience, sometimes we end up opening up on the other end. But the pre-season has been going really well. We've got a very young group of players. As you know, we rely on some of the players that's still young that have now moved up and training more often with the A-League than they do with us. And then on week-to-week basis, depending what Cal needs for the A-League, those players might drop down to play with us. If they don't, then obviously opens the door for some of the younger boys in the squad, reserves and all of that to come up.
We've seen some of the standouts last season in Ethan Alagic, Popovic, Kasumovic, all getting chances in the squad, in LA United squad, over the Australia Cup and also the A-League. Obviously, we're going to see some younger players come through this season. What are some of the ins and outs we can expect from your team this year?
Well, those players still very much able to play. Popper, he is a bit older, he's not too. Ethan Alagic still eligible to play. So is Penash Madania, Luka Jovanovic, Johnny Au, Bernardo Oliveira still can play. They all young, they all age eligible. Musa Toure, who else? Assad Kuzmanovic is a little bit older, one of the older boys, but still eligible to play. As I said, the squad will be rotated from week to week basis. But some of the younger boys that had some experience last year playing seniors football were Fabian Taladera, played a number of games. Bailey O'Neill is another one that probably this year will play majority of the year. Last year, reserves played a couple of games against Comets, and I can't remember the other game he played in seniors. He might be looking at getting opportunities to play. Some other young boys that, in that reserve squad to be pushing for a spot. Satiri Filius, which is away with Fabian in the Joeys. At the moment, they've got two boys away with the Joeys. And a couple of young new boys. Nathan came into the squad from West Adelaide. And Ryan White, a boy that we had previously in the system with us. He was playing for Para Hills, did well. So he's back in with us. So some of the names that we do have that we can probably see as new into the squad, but the rest is all about giving opportunities to everyone at the right time to play, so everyone gets a taste of senior football and can continue to develop as players.
You did mention that and highlight that Carl Viet will use some of the players in your squad, and that's what it's there for, to produce the A-League players, and it's been doing a very good job at it for the A-League team. And what should we expect? Because there's a bit of a clash of the A-League and the NPL at the start of the NPL season. So some of those players will be needed, like Ethan Alagic and all the other ones you didn't just run off there. But what should we expect from the team in the beginning stages? Is it going to be a bit slower from the team to get off running for the NPL season?
Look, we don't expect to be slower. We have a group of players that train together, around 23 players. And out of those 23 players, we then on the weekend decide who plays seniors and who plays reserve. The players receive the same type of training week in and week out. So everyone in that group of 23 players know what to expect. So, obviously if the squad is younger, some less of the boys that are with Kawa dropping down, then the squad will be even less, lacking a little bit more on experience. But we don't expect them to be any slow or anything like that. Doesn't matter who you are in our squad. We want to play in a certain way, and all these boys are expected to keep the game at that level, and that's how we want to challenge those young kids. So we will play. We're not changing the way we play, the way we do things, so it's going to be a bit of wait and see next week, depending how the players go, depending on injuries, obviously, with Cal and the A-League squad or suspensions. Then normally during the week by Thursday and the latest as Friday, I will have an idea of who might come down and play with us, and then it'll be sort of adjusting in the last moment, bring those players in. But if they don't, as I said, we got a group of 23 players there that they should be ready to play. Not the final product, not the end product yet, but they are ready to play senior football, and we will give young players the opportunity to play.
And you give those young players the opportunity to play, and that's what's great about this club, having that platform for the next generation to show off their skills and try and show Carl what they can do to get into that A-League squad. And that's meant we've seen some incredible young players like Aaron Kunda showing off in that league. What are some of the players, or one of the players you could point out that we should keep our eye on this season that's just breaking into the squad?
Look, it's very difficult to find out. You never know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, we got a couple of good defenders that still with us, like Kane Vitmar, Panakikianis. They two centre backs that we sort of rate them as very good defenders, developing physically. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult when you come across some of the more experienced players, especially in attacking sense from the opposition. They had a tough year last year, but they've done well. They've got very good attributes. So Giuseppe Bovalina is another one that played last year as a fullback that scored 5 or 6 goals last year. He's sort of an attacking-minded fullback. Also that we got sort of a good expectations for him for the future. But then again, there's some other boys that might come in and surprise us. It's just a matter of some of those boys are not physically ready, and obviously mentally as well, don't have the experience. But football-wise, they're all very good footballers. And the beauty about this job is that Carl and I, we worked together at the Federation before. We know each other really well. We have very similar, same philosophy. We do the same type of training with the youth team that the A-League does, very much the same. So it's nothing difficult for the players, nothing new. They expect all the same things. And we also rely also on the NTC, or those boys coming through the Federation program, which is a job that I've done for 10, 11 years. We know everybody that works there. They are on the pinning program. The players come from there, from under 13s, 14s, and 15s. And I know all the boys are constantly talking to the coaches and the people involved. So we know the next players coming through, because we do use a lot of those young players that are still in the NTC. So if we have to push players up to play first team, and then we bring players out from the NTC to play reserves and so on, that's how we operate. And it's been very successful for us. As I said, the main priority of the club is to use this competition to develop players. By all means, we play every game to win. And if we can play finals like we did last year, it's a great experience for the players, because it's a different type of game, different level. And we want to go and play finals this year again and go as far as we can go. But the main priority doesn't change. We want the players to go to better and higher things in the future.
Beautiful. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what Adelaide United can produce in terms of quality of players this season. Looking forward to seeing what you can do as well with the team, Airton, and good luck for 2023.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your call, and good luck to you guys. Thank you for doing the job you're doing, bringing the game and making it a bit more sort of putting it out there for other people to have an idea what happens on the NPL. So that's great from you. I wish you all the best too, and I'm looking forward to see you around.
Thank you so much, Airton. Looking forward to hopefully commentating more of your games as well. Should be an exciting season for you ahead. That was the head coach of Adelaide United's NPL youth team, Airton Andrioli. That's all for part 3 of the NPL preview. That was Airton Andrioli, Danny Graystone, and Anthony Rideout. Make sure you keep an eye out for part 3 out tomorrow right here on Kicking It Local. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts, so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow Kicking It Local SA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon!